Hey everyone, SweetJohnnyCage here, back with another guide for The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening on Nintendo Switch. This time I'm going to show you how to access the Angler's Tunnel as well as complete the dungeon. So first things first, we have a lot of side questing to do. That includes continuing the trade sequence through the pineapple, getting the ocarina from the Dream Shrine. We're going to visit Marin on the beach and bring her back to Animal Village to wake the walrus. Then we're going to defeat the land mola to get the Angler's Key. And then we're going to unlock the dungeon and head to Tal Tal Mountain Range to access the dungeon entrance. And then we'll get into the dungeon proper. If you've already accessed Angler's Tunnel and you just need help getting through the dungeon, please check the video description for the timestamp for the dungeon walkthrough, and I'll also display it on screen here now. So without further ado, let's get started. Starting from the Ukuku Prairie warp point, you want to head to the northeast and then talk to Terran, give him the stick, and he will intelligently poke the beehive that is hanging off of this tree, and then he will take the stick with him, and then you will get the empty honeycomb in return. So we're going to then bring this over to Animal Village, which I will show you how to get to next. So, once we have the honeycomb, we can head south, and we're going to go in the general vicinity of the castle and signpost field, but we're going to take a different route. So we're going to come up this staircase, and then go north. Sorry, I made that mistake while playing too. And if there's a giant skull blocking your path there, maybe you haven't been following the walkthrough the same way I'm doing it, you just use a bomb on the big pig skull, no big deal. So we're going to head to the sort of southeast here, and then we're going to get to the river, as well as a bush that has a staircase underneath. You will notice that there is a heart container in some deep water down there. You will need the flippers, which you get in this dungeon, so be sure to come back later. And of course I'm marking it on my map. You may see me walk past heart pieces. That's because I want to do a guide where I just get all the heart pieces sequentially. And so I'm making it harder on myself by playing on hero mode, as well as not picking up any heart pieces. So yeah, I'm going to mark another heart piece on my map here. It's just on the outskirts of Animal Village. But now we are in Animal Village proper. Okay, great. So what we want to do is we want to head into this house right here. We're going to talk to this bear, and we're going to trade him a honeycomb for a pineapple. And this bear is a chef. So he needs honeycomb for one of his soups that he's making. Looks like a Manhattan clam chowder and some sort of corn chowder. I'm guessing. Who knows? Now I'm in the mood for soup. So when you give him the honeycomb, he'll give you the pineapple in return, and then he will tell you that the walrus blocking the path to the desert will wake up if you bring Marin with you to sing him a song. So that's what we're going to do. But first, we need to make a quick stop in Mabe Village and pick up the ocarina. You don't have to do this right now, but learning the Ballad of the Windfish from Marin at this point is just easier, so that's why I choose to do it now. Getting the ocarina is super simple. Just warp back to Ukuku Prairie? Ukuku Prairie. That's hard for me to say. So warp back to Ukuku Prairie, and then go to Mabe Village, and then walk north one screen, and now you can lift up the rocks with the power bracelet blocking this building here. And this is the Dream Shrine. So you're going to get into bed, Link's going to go to sleep, and then he is going to wake up in some sort of like very small dungeon with some enemies that mimic him. But now that we have the Pegasus boots, we could just run right through them. I do recommend swatting them out of your way if you feel like they're too close, because they do deal damage when they touch you, especially this one right here. I always swat him away, and then I start running. There are, of course, you can see the cracks in the floor, so you do want to run through. You don't want to spend too much time there. We're going to grab this one chest, get 100 rupees. I'm going to try to accumulate as many rupees as I can, because the bow is 980 rupees, and I don't want to steal it. So, yeah, just keep that in mind. So just dash through that last crystal, walk up to the pedestal, and claim the ocarina for yourself. So now that we have the ocarina, we can learn some songs, the first of which is going to be the Ballad of the Windfish, which we will learn in a little bit. But for now, we want to head down to the beach. And we don't want to go exactly where we picked up the sword. Instead, we want to go a little bit further east from that location. It's very quick to get to now that we have the Pegasus boots, as most things are in the game now. So yeah, we're going to head down to the beach, go along the same path that you did in the beginning of the game towards your sword, but we're just going to go further east. So we're going to walk past Bow Wow and Madame Meow Meow's house, and then we're going to try our best to control the running in this game. It's a little weird. I'm still not used to it. I like how you can sort of like change directions a little bit. But yeah, so we're going to drop down here, And then from here, we're just going to head straight east. Just keep running for a while until you get to some white sand. And then right before this chest, just head south. And I'm actually going to cut this cutscene out because it's literally just them talking. And it's kind of a nice moment. So yeah, I'll leave that for you guys to see for yourselves. So as this cutscene draws to a close, Link tells Marin in his own voiceless special way that he needs her help moving the walrus. So now Marin, it's funny that Link still, even in this remaster, holds her up above his head, and now she's going to follow him. It's like he got a treasure. And hey, Marin's pretty cool. She's a keeper. So just come over here. We can jump across this pit now that we have the Pegasus boots and the Rock's Feather, and she will follow suit. And then lift up this rock to reveal a new warp pad added in this version of the game. And then we're just going to warp right back to Animal Village. So we no longer need to do any big backtracking or anything. We can just warp right there. And now we've got an additional warp point with access to. All right, so that sentence didn't make any sense. We have access to a new warp point now, is what I meant to say. All right, so just continue south here, and then we're going to go east, and then we're going to just have Marin sing to the walrus. Eventually, she will finish singing, and he will wake up, and then we can proceed to the Land Mola. So I'll take this time to mention, you'll notice that I'm using a blue tunic. That's because I completed the color dungeon before heading on to level 4. If you'd like a guide for that, just check the description for the playlist for all the Zelda Link's Awakening guides that I'm doing. You can also choose to get the red tunic if you'd rather have extra damage, but since I'm playing on hero mode, I opted for additional defense. Alright, so now that the walrus has woken up, Mr. Rabbit is going to summon her back to the village, and now we have access to the desert. There is a hard piece in this desert. I'm going to skip it, but I'll sort of indicate where it is. There's also a secret seashell all the way east in the desert, too. I love how the color changes here, and it really becomes a desert, although it doesn't make geographical sense to be a desert. I really, really like that. So, coming up to the sand pit, we're going to summon the Land Mola. And this guy is going to take a bunch of sword slashes, but you'll notice that it's quicksand. We're constantly sinking in towards the middle. Now, if you sink into the middle, you will not die. Instead, you'll be brought down to a cave, which you can exit out of very easily, but you do have to restart the fight. And the cave lets you out one screen to the east, so you just come right back here and start it again. But he does start at full health if you do have to reset. So be mindful of your placement, of your feet. You can Rock's Feather out of the center if you notice that you're just on the cusp of the center. Just Rock's Feather just jump into a certain direction and you'll escape it. But for the most part, I don't recommend doing sword spins. I'm not very good at them. Otherwise, I would say go for it. But I really recommend, because this fight can be reset by falling into the middle, just take your time. I think it's 7 sword slashes. We'll be done here in a minute. But this, defeating the Land Mola will give us the Angler's Key. So this is our last major objective of this side questing portion of the guide. Okay, so we hit him one last time. He dies, and he's going to drop the Angler's Key. Now, if the Angler's Key falls into the quicksand and disappears in the middle, just follow it, and you'll go into the cave. The Angler's Key will be down there. No big deal. And there is a hard piece in the cave that you fall down into on the north side. So just keep that in mind if you're trying to get your hard pieces as you go. So, heading back into Animal Village, we will get a visit from Mr. Owl, who tells us to head to the waterfall. And that is where we have to bring the key. Now, the interesting thing about this key is that even though it opens up a dungeon right in front of the keyhole, we still have to do a little bit more adventuring even to access it. Now, if you want to come back to that dungeon, it's no big deal. You can do that much more easily since you'll have the flippers. Just keep that in mind. So when we get back to Animal Village, since we have the ocarina, go ahead and talk to Marin, and she will sing for you the Ballad of the Windfish. And there's really only one purpose for this song, and it's to use it at the very end of the game to wake the windfish, or to gain access to the egg. So once you complete all the dungeons and you're ready to finish the game, play this song at the egg, and it will open to reveal the final dungeon. Other than that, at least in the original game, it didn't really have too many other purposes, other than it was a nice song to listen to and open that dungeon. So yeah, just keep that in mind. So, now that Link has learned the song, in typical Zelda fashion, just like the owl from Ocarina of Time, she's going to ask if you got all that, if you remembered it. So just say yes and you will learn the song, and then you can keep on moving. So what we're going to do now is we're going to warp back to Ukuku Prairie. I really got to practice saying that. Ukuku Prairie. We're going to warp back there, and then I'm going to show you, even though I currently have this warp open in this video, I'm going to show you how to open that warp to the north, because that one's very, very useful. So, go back to the prairie, and then just head north from this screen. Right here. Okay, so walk down the pedestal, and then just head north up this big ladder. And then we will come near the graveyard, which is where we were for the color dungeon, as well as the wasteland, I think it's called. Yeah, so coming in here, go ahead and lift that up. And if you'll notice, I have a white border around my heart pieces. Going into this house, you'll meet Crazy Tracy. She will sell you a potion that acts like a bottled fairy, where it revives you after you die. So there will be a rock there, but the warp point is under it, so I just wanted to show you that. And then what you need to do is you need to come over here, lift up these rocks, and then head all the way east. Don't go up the mountain yet. Don't go up the mountain yet. You want to head all the way east, past both ladders, defeat these moblins, and then you want to... Yeah, I'm going to play it safe here, even though I have the blue tunic. I'm still not getting any hearts on hero mode. So go ahead and play it safe, and then... Yeah, you want to come down here. Okay, and then we are very close to the keyhole, which is right here. Yeah, go ahead and walk up to this keyhole, press A, and you will unlock the dungeon, which is behind this waterfall. You can sort of see the face back there. Okay, now that the dungeon is unlocked, we're going to activate one more teleport point. This one was in the original game. Okay, go ahead and activate that. And now we're going to head back to the west, and we're going to go up the mountain finally. And we're going to do our real last piece of side questing and actually access this dungeon. So we're just going to progress the trade quest one more step, and then we're going to get into the dungeon. Alright, so we're heading east now, or heading west, then we go north. And now we're going to lift up this rock and head into this cave. Okay, so this cave can be a little treacherous. There are bats all over the place. They can push you into those pits, as you almost saw there. But it's not a big deal. There is a rock pushing puzzle that we need to solve real quick. I'm going to mark this heart piece on my map. And then we're going to go down one flight. We're just going to run across this screen, kill that slime, and then go back up. And if you want, you can go through this first door. The chest outside has rupees. I'm going to skip it for now because I'm just sort of antsy to get into this dungeon. It's like a 20-minute or 15-minute side quest in order to even access this dungeon. And that's provided you did everything up to this point with the trading sequence, which I guess you would have had to because you need to do some of it to access level 3. So, yeah. All right, so head up this staircase. That chest right there has a slime in it. Don't even bother opening it. Yeah, and then we're just going to charge right past the keys. And then we are going to give this guy the pineapple in exchange for the hibiscus. So this is Tabahl. He is suffering heat stroke out here, and he's just so hungry. He needs his vittles, his vitamins. So he's going to somehow cut this pineapple in half with no knife. I don't know how he did it. He must be super strong still, despite having heat stroke. And then he's going to give us a hibiscus, which we will continue the trading sequence in another video. We need to bring this back to Animal Village to give to somebody there. All right, so now that Tabahl is done eating his pineapple, he got his victuals, he's ready to leave. We just want to run to the east here until we see the dungeon entrance. Okay, now just fall over here. I'm going to save my game, and then we are going to enter level 4, which is Angler's Tunnel. Alright, so Angler's Tunnel is a fun dungeon. You get the flippers in this dungeon, so you basically walk through all the rooms that you can. You go through the entire dungeon with no flippers, and then you revisit some of those same rooms with the flippers. So no new rooms really open up to you with the flippers. You just sort of retread the same steps. And now that you can swim, it becomes a sort of a new dungeon. So we're going to kill all the enemies in that first room to open up this door. And then we're going to kill all the enemies in this room. We're going to grab our piece of power. And then we're going to go south one screen. Alright, so we're going to kill the water walker dudes over here. We're going to open up this chest. and inside is a small key, so we're definitely going to need that in a couple minutes. Keep cracking open these crystals, defeat the last 2 enemies to open the door back up, and then we're going to head west. We're going to skip this locked door for now, but we are going to get the compass out of this chest. But we're going to come back to this locked door. It does have a purpose. We're actually going to come back here a couple times, but opening that door right now is kind of a waste of time. So, head back west and then go north up the staircase, and then we are going to enter a room with a pretty big gap, and I'm like really bad at jumping this gap diagonally. I know it's possible. I've seen it done, especially from the recent PAX West demo. I watched someone do it, but I'm just so bad at it that I'm going to show you the long way to do it because I'm so bad. All right, so this block here, you'll notice that it's cracked. So we're just going to place a bomb, and then we can move the next piece just like that. Great. Okay, so that's going to give us a small key, and now we're going to head north in this room. Be very careful of the deep water. In this game, at least on hero mode, falling into the water does damage you. So be very, very careful, especially if you're doing the game like I am, where you're not picking up hard pieces, you're trying to do some sort of minimalist run. Water does deal damage to you. But in this room, you can sprinkle magic powder on the bad fairies, and they will turn into good fairies usually. On normal mode, on hero mode, they just go away, which in itself is a lifesaver. So we are done with this section here. We got our last key out of that chest, and now I'm looking for bombs here, even though I don't really need them, but I keep opening pots. So we're gonna re-jump this gap, and again, you can do that diagonally. I'm just not good at it, so I'll show you the, I guess, intended way to do it. I'll show you that next. Right here, we're going to get the stone beak, but like I said in my other guides, aside from the level 1 guide, I'm going to give you the hints. You don't really need this, but if you're trying to 100% the dungeon, you're a bit of a completionist like me, that's how you get that chest. So we're going to flip over that spiked enemy, and then we are going to proceed through this locked door now. Alright, so in this room, as you can see, opening the door earlier would have done nothing for us because we needed another key anyway. So we're going to go ahead and open this door, and take note of that chest on the left. It is rupees, but we will come back once we have the flippers. And now we are on the other side of this gap, so now we can cross it vertically. Great. Alright, so this Stalfos Knight, he can hit us through those spikes. You can see his sword coming through. That sword has an active hitbox, so you gotta be very careful. You usually cannot hit him like through the block. He can hit you though. So just push the block and then keep your guard up around the spinning enemy as well as the Stalfos. Now, killing the 2 slimes in here, you'll notice a key drops, and I'm actually going to make a mistake here, but I'm going to leave it in. I forgot that you needed the flippers in order to get that key, but I'm going to show you where it goes, just in case like you're wondering and you're just sort of lost in this dungeon. This is where the key goes, but you do need the flippers here in order to get this key. Despite falling through it, you don't get credit. So, now we know what our objective is. We need to get the flippers. We got to get a few more keys, though, before we can do that. Alright, so head back upstairs, and then go west. And I'm still looking for bombs for some weird reason. But yeah, so there's no hidden key or anything in this room here. Killing all the enemies doesn't really do anything for you. But it is good to just get them out of the way. So we're going to kill some of the water walkers. We're going to wait for this P-hat to come up. But I'm going to successfully try to run and jump over that gap. It's a little hard to see in this dungeon, but I am walking on a shallow platform. I kind of had trouble recognizing that the first time, because in the original game there was just shallow water and deep water, and Link just walked in the shallow water. But now they put like a platform underneath, and it was a little difficult for me to see. But that is a shallow platform that you can walk on. So this chest is nothing. It's a slime. The game got me. Yeah, so we're going to go ahead and move to the next room now. This room has a puzzle that we cannot solve until we have the flippers, and we actually get the solution for it in another room pretty soon. So, open this chest, and now we have a small key. Unfortunately, because of the way the dungeon is designed, we have to take the long way around to use this key. But just remember this room, because it's very important. It's going to lead us to the final part of the dungeon. Alright. So, we're going to make our way back on this shallow platform here. Or sorry, the other path leads to the nightmare key. I just misremembered. Okay, so we're going to wait for the P-hat to lift off. He's going to fly over us. He's going to move, and then we're going to just jump back onto the platforms. Okay, now that we have a key, we can go through this door to the north, and we're going to go to the mini-boss of this dungeon. And his name is Cue Ball. Cue Ball is relatively easy. You just have to use the Rock's Feather and your sword. So whenever he's getting close to you, just jump over him, and then quickly turn around and slash as you're falling, and you'll keep hitting him. Eventually, he will get tired of it, and he'll try to use a different route. But you could just keep repeating the process over and over and over. He does take a while. He takes maybe like 10 slashes or 12 or something like that. I should really count. But yeah, so just keep repeating the process, and yeah, he'll die. He's a really relatively easy boss, as most bosses are in this game. I think the only thing they may have changed in the Switch version is they may have made him have a little bit more health. Other than that, he's basically exactly the same. Alright, so now that he's dead, we have a warp point to the beginning of the dungeon, which we will use in a few minutes. So this room, you have this lever going into the wall, so you just want to pull that out all the way, and then you want to skirt past that moving ball of electricity and just keep moving. So in this room we have the flippers. Once you defeat the two slimes, the IMOS or statues will stop shooting lasers at you. But now we have the flippers, and because we have the blue tunic, they match. So this tile room, there is an owl in the dungeon that tells you that the spark will guide the way or something like that. This is the spark it's referring to. So this solution, top right, top left, bottom right, center, bottom left, that is the solution for the other tile room that we needed the flippers to solve. So now that we have the flippers, and we know the solution, we can go back to that room. And luckily, because this dungeon is designed pretty well, that's relatively easy. You can just go left there. But instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the key that dropped earlier, where it took some damage getting. I'm going to go back and I'm going to get that. And then we're going to go do some other collection in the dungeon as well, in some previously inaccessible areas. So we're going to dive down here. I love how you can see his flippers. It's so cute. We're going to dive down there, grab that key. Now that we have that key, we can do some more exploring. All right. So we're going to head up this ladder here. All right, great. And now we're going to warp back to the beginning of the dungeon. We're going to open up some previously inaccessible chests now that we have the flippers. So once we're back at the dungeon entrance, we're going to proceed through the east doorway. I'm going to make a little bit of a mistake here. I'm going to go up this staircase. I kind of forgot where I was going. Don't do this on no sleep, ladies and gents. We're going to pick up this guardian acorn, and then we're going to head east, and now we're going to go through this door once again that we left locked for a while. We're going to go through here, and now we can start swimming across, and we'll be able to get to a previously inaccessible chest in this room. So swim over here, and then just wait for this pea-hat to fly away, or to just land, and then open the chest. And inside is 50 rupees. Great. So from here, we're going to proceed north again, and we're going to jump the big gap. Okay. And now we are going to get another previously unobtainable chest, but we're actually going to open up the way to the end of the dungeon in doing so. Alright, so we can just swim across here now that we have the flippers. We can push this block. And now we're going to solve this tile puzzle. So we're going to go top right, top left, bottom right, center, and then bottom left. It's the same solution as the other room from earlier, but there's no shining spark to guide your way. You just got to memorize it or use the guide. All right, so head downstairs, and we want to run past these, I'm going to call them thwomps. I don't know what their names are in Link's Awakening, but the trick is to get the second thwomp to land on the ground, then hop up the ladder, and then ride it back up. All right, so now we have the Nightmare Key, and that will give us access to the final boss of this dungeon. Alright, so now that we have that in our inventory, it's time to wrap this place up. Okay, so head to the east here. You can just jump down the stairs and then start swimming. Press this switch and then use your final key in this key block. But don't forget to push this block over here, and then that grants us access to this chest really quick instead of going all the way around. And that's another 50 rupees for you. Alright, now it's time to finish this place and fight the final boss. So head downstairs one last time. And now we have some cheeps down here. Just go ahead and slash those. And then you can take the ladder back up, and that will bring us to the boss room. Or the room before the boss room, I should say. Alright. So we're just going to kill these slimes. You don't have to, but for some reason I got really lucky in this dungeon, and I got a lot of accordion acorns and pieces of power, so I was just kind of really more than happy to keep killing things. Your only way forward is down, and that's because down here is the boss room. So swim down one screen, and then the King Angler will reveal himself. And if it's not obvious enough, his weak point is the light dangling from one of his antennae, I guess you could call that. I don't know the real, not nautical term, but the real scientific term for what that thing is. But that's the weak spot. So what you want to do is after you hit him 3 times, he will sort of become incapacitated. He'll get stunned and just sit on the bottom of the screen. This boss was a lot easier in the Game Boy version and in DX because you could hit him anywhere, but for now you need to hit him only on the light. Same thing, you know, just rinse and repeat every single time. When he roars, he will summon mini anglers to come to his aid. They will die in one hit, so just rinse and repeat on the boss. I do take a hit here, and I use Crazy Tracy's medicine to heal myself back up. So at this stage in the game, especially if you're playing on hero mode, I recommend investing in that before you enter dungeons. It's just extremely helpful. Alright, so I think we're close to done here. He will walk back or he'll swim back and forth, and then he will ram his head into the wall. This will cause bricks to drop from the ceiling, so you gotta swim around those. So it's really just hit him in the light, watch out for the bricks that fall, and then just kill the ads when they spawn whenever he roars, and that's it. You'll get yourself a heart container, and now you want to swim back up, and the final room of this dungeon will finally be unlocked for you, and inside is the next instrument of the sirens. So I was testing here to see if you could use the shield underwater. You couldn't in the original, but I was just curious. So now the final room is open, and we have the harp. And that about does it. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment. I'll do my best to help you out. If you're looking for more guides for The Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening on Switch, please subscribe to the channel so you get alerted when new videos go live. If you like the content on this channel a whole lot, please consider becoming a channel member by clicking the blue join button below. You can find me on Twitter. I'm at SJCage, and I also stream every Tuesday and Thursday starting at 9 p.m. Eastern on twitch.tv/SweetJohnnyCage. Alright, I'm SweetJohnnyCage. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.